My fiancée didn't invite my mom to the wedding, so I invited her ex instead, called off the wedding, and let them reconnect. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and for the longest time, I thought everything was perfect between me and my fiancée, Lisa. We'd been together for 3 years, and our wedding was the highlight of our lives. Every conversation we had revolved around our future, about what the wedding would look like, who would be there, and how we'd build a life together. I was head over heels in love with her, and I believed with every fiber of my being that she was the one. My family, especially my mom, had always been my rock. I was the good guy in my family, always trying to make everyone happy. If there was a family event, I was there, holding things together, making sure no one was left out. My mom had raised me alone after my dad left, and we'd been through everything together. I didn't realize it at the time, but the emotional bond we had was the foundation of who I was. She'd never asked for much, just my presence, and I gave it willingly. She was my everything. But as we began to plan the wedding, something started to feel off. I couldn't put my finger on it at first. Lisa seemed excited, sure, but there was this cold distance when it came to my family. It wasn't just my mom. She'd started distancing herself from all of them. Every time I mentioned my family in conversation, she would just nod, but her tone wasn't warm. There were little comments, nothing big, but they were enough to make me wonder. "It's not that I don't like them, I just don't get them," she'd say, but I could feel the judgment behind her words. I knew my family wasn't perfect. Hell, who is? But something about the way she spoke about them, about my mom especially, made me uneasy. Still, I brushed it off. I didn't want to be paranoid. I was so focused on the wedding, on the future, on us. But deep down, I felt like there was something more going on, something I wasn't seeing. And every time I mentioned my mom, Lisa would change the subject, like she couldn't wait for the conversation to be over. I should have known then that something was about to shift. I just didn't realize how much it would change everything. I remember the day I first saw the guest list. It was a Saturday, and Lisa and I were sitting at the kitchen table going over the final details. We were both tired, but excited. We'd been planning this wedding for months, and it was supposed to be perfect. Our perfect day. I had a list of people I wanted there, and so did she. I didn't think there would be any issues, but when I looked down at the list, something hit me like a ton of bricks. My mom's name wasn't on it. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe she was just missed, or maybe Lisa had forgotten to add her. So I asked her about it. "Hey Lisa, I don't see my mom's name on here. Did we forget her?" Lisa looked at the list for a moment before glancing up at me, her face unreadable. "Oh, I didn't think it would be a good idea for her to come." I felt a knot form in my stomach. "What do you mean?" "She's my mom, Lisa. She's been there for me through everything." "You can't be serious." Lisa's eyes dropped to the table and she shifted in her seat. "It's just, she's always so much, you know. She can be overbearing sometimes, and I thought it might cause some tension." My blood ran cold. Tension? My mom, who had sacrificed everything to raise me, was the one who would cause tension? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had always been the one to put others first, especially my mom. She was everything to me, and I couldn't understand why Lisa was acting like she didn't matter. "Lisa, this isn't just some random guest," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "This is my mom. She's been with me through thick and thin, and I can't just leave her out of our wedding." Lisa sighed, a little too dramatically. "Look, I'm not saying I don't like her. I just don't think it's a good idea for her to come. You know how she can be a little too much." The words hung in the air, suffocating me. "Too much, my mom?" I stared at her, trying to process what I was hearing. I'd always known that Lisa wasn't super close to my family, but this was different. This was cold, dismissive, and so far out of line. I felt my chest tighten, the anger building inside me. I could feel my pulse racing, but I didn't want to make a scene. Not in front of her. Not about this. So I did what I always did. Swallowed my feelings, pushed them down deep, and hoped it would somehow get better. But it didn't. It only got worse. Every time I tried to bring it up again, Lisa would shut me down, changing the subject, dismissing my concerns. It was like my mom didn't matter at all. And deep down, I started to wonder, what kind of person was I marrying? It was a week after that conversation when I started noticing the little things. The things I had ignored before. The coldness. The dismissal. It wasn't just about my mom anymore. It was about how she treated me when I tried to bring it up again. I wanted to brush it off, but it was like an itch I couldn't reach, no matter how hard I tried to ignore it. One night, after dinner, I finally snapped. I had just spent an entire day helping my mom with some repairs around the house. It was her birthday the next day, and I knew how much she was looking forward to the wedding, to being there, to celebrating with us. But when I mentioned it to Lisa that evening, she rolled her eyes. "I don't understand why you're making such a big deal out of this," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "She's not a part of our life, you know? It's supposed to be our wedding, not some family reunion." I could feel my blood boil, but I held my ground. "She's my mom, Lisa. How do you think I'm supposed to feel? She raised me. She's been there for me every single day. And now you're telling me she can't even come to the most important day of my life?" Lisa leaned back on the couch, her arms crossed, her expression almost bored. "Look, you can't expect me to just like her because she's your mom. You always act like she's perfect, but you don't see what she's really like. You're just blind to it." My chest tightened, and for the first time in our entire relationship, I felt an overwhelming sense of anger and confusion. I had never heard Lisa speak about my mom like that. I couldn't understand it. I had always known she wasn't close with my family, but this was something else. "She's not perfect," I snapped, my voice rising. "But she's my mom, Lisa. She's been there for me through everything. I don't expect you to like her, but I thought I could at least count on you to be supportive." I didn't think this was too much to ask. Lisa's face hardened. "Well, maybe I'm just tired of trying to pretend. Maybe I don't want to spend my wedding day catering to someone who makes everything about themselves." The words hit me like a slap. My mom had always been a lot to handle, yes. She could be overwhelming. But she had never, ever made me feel like I was anything less than the most important person in her life. And here was Lisa, the woman I was about to marry, talking about her like she was some kind of burden. "I can't believe you're saying this," I muttered, my voice shaking. "You're turning this whole thing into something it's not." Lisa stood up then, walking toward the kitchen. "I'm just telling you how I feel. You've always been so blind to what she does, but I see it. She makes everything about herself. And you let her." I stood there, rooted to the spot. The anger was still there, but it was quickly replaced by an overwhelming sense of hurt. Hurt that Lisa, my fiancée, could look at my mom, the woman who had given me everything, and speak about her like this. How could she not see what was at stake? I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself, but it wasn't working. I felt a deep pit in my stomach as the realization hit me. Maybe I wasn't just marrying Lisa. I was marrying someone who didn't understand my love for my family. Someone who, despite all the promises we made, wasn't who I thought she was. And for the first time, I wondered if this was really the life I wanted. Would I always have to choose between her and my mom? Would I forever be torn between two worlds that were never going to understand each other? I had no idea where this was heading, but I knew one thing for sure. Things were never going to be the same between us. It didn't take long for the tension to spill over into the rest of my life. I tried to keep the wedding plans moving forward, but it was impossible to ignore the growing distance between Lisa and my family. And once my mom found out about the guest list, it all hit the fan. I hadn't planned on telling her. I didn't want to hurt her, but she knew me too well. She could see the way I was acting, distant, torn. One afternoon, she sat me down, her voice soft but firm. "What's going on with you and Lisa? You've been avoiding us, and I can feel it. I couldn't lie. Not to her, not after everything she had done for me." "She didn't invite you to the wedding," I said, the words feeling like acid on my tongue. "She doesn't think you should come. She thinks you're too much." Mom's face fell. It wasn't anger that I saw in her eyes, but hurt, deep, bone-crushing hurt. "I've always tried to support you, even when it was hard. But this feels like a betrayal." That was the moment I hit rock bottom. My mom, the woman who had given everything for me, was being rejected. And worse, I couldn't seem to make Lisa see it from my side. I was stuck between them, stuck in a war I didn't want to fight but couldn't avoid. My family was disappointed in me, my fiancé was shutting me out, and I was losing myself in the middle. I didn't know where to turn. I felt completely alone. My family wasn't on my side. Lisa was emotionally distant, and all I could think about was how everything I'd hoped for was slipping away like sand through my fingers. The one person I always leaned on, my mom, was now alienated from the life I was trying to build with Lisa. It felt like my entire world was crumbling, and I didn't know how to stop it. The next bombshell dropped out of nowhere. I didn't see it coming, and when it hit, it shattered everything I thought I knew about my fiancé. One evening, as we were sitting on the couch, quiet, tense, neither of us talking much, Lisa casually mentioned that she'd invited her ex-boyfriend to the wedding. I froze. "You what?" "Yeah, I figured it wouldn't hurt," she said, avoiding my gaze, clearly uncomfortable. "We're friends now. We've been talking, and it just felt right. My mind went blank. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating. What do you mean, it felt right? Why would you invite him?" "He's your ex, Lisa," she shrugged almost dismissively. "We've been getting along, and honestly, it's not like I have a problem with him anymore. He's fine, and you know we've been friends for a while now." I stared at her, disbelief flooding through me. Friends? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was struggling to hold my emotions together, but I couldn't suppress the anger and confusion. "Are you kidding me? You invite your ex to our wedding? After everything that's happened with my mom? This doesn't make any sense." Lisa's face hardened, and for the first time I saw a flash of irritation in her eyes. "It's not like that, okay? You're making a big deal out of nothing. It's just a few people from the past, that's all." "No," I shot back, my voice cracking with frustration. "This isn't nothing. You're inviting someone who's been a part of your life before, and I'm sitting here watching it all happen." She rolled her eyes and turned her back to me. "You're being ridiculous. It's just a wedding. Why can't you just let it go?" I was reeling. First it was my mom, and now this. I couldn't make sense of it. The pieces didn't fit. Why would she do this? The question burned in my mind. Was this what I had been blind to all along? Had I missed the signs of how little she valued our relationship? That night, everything changed. I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing, my heart pounding in my chest. I kept thinking about her ex being invited, about the coldness in her voice when she dismissed my concerns. And then, something inside me snapped. I decided to check her phone. I hated myself for doing it, but I couldn't ignore the feeling gnawing at me. It was a gut instinct, one that I should have trusted from the start. When I found the text between Lisa and her ex, it was like a punch to the gut. They were still talking, but it wasn't just casual conversation. They'd been meeting up, talking about their past, about things I didn't even know about. They had shared inside jokes. There were messages about old times, about things I wasn't a part of, things she hadn't told me. The worst part? She had gone to meet him the day after we'd had that huge argument about the wedding guest list. The same day she told me she was just friends with him. I sat there in complete silence, holding her phone, my hands shaking. I didn't know how long I had been staring at the screen, but I felt sick. I had been betrayed, not just by Lisa, but by the one person I had trusted with my life. I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding, and I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes. But I didn't want to let them fall. I couldn't cry, not now. Not when I realized that the woman I was about to marry had been lying to me, keeping secrets, and spending time with someone she used to be in love with. I couldn't just sit there anymore, pretending everything was fine. I had to confront her. I had to know the truth, no matter how much it hurt. I couldn't live with this doubt, this gnawing feeling in my gut that told me something was wrong. I waited until the next morning. She was sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone. I walked in, took a deep breath, and sat down across from her. "I know what you've been doing," I said, my voice cold but steady. She looked up, confused. "What are you talking about?" "I saw the texts," I said, my words coming out sharper than I intended. "I saw how you've been meeting up with your ex. I saw how you've been lying to me about it. How long has this been going on, Lisa?" Her face turned pale, but she didn't say anything at first. She didn't even try to deny it. "I didn't want to hurt you," she whispered. "I was just trying to keep everything together. But I guess I wasn't happy. Not like I thought I was. And I didn't know how to tell you." The words hung in the air, cold and heavy, suffocating me. I could barely believe what I was hearing. I didn't want to stay in a relationship built on lies. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay when it wasn't. I stood up, my hands clenched into fists. "I'm done, Lisa. This is over. I'm calling off the wedding. I can't marry someone who's been hiding this from me, someone who's been so disrespectful to my family, to me." Her face crumbled, but there was nothing left to say. I didn't give her the chance to apologize, to make excuses. This wasn't about me being angry. It was about me finally seeing everything clearly, and I wasn't going to stand by while she continued to pull me down with her. Lisa begged. She cried. She apologized. But I couldn't hear it anymore. The words that had once felt comforting now felt empty and hollow. She wasn't the person I thought she was, and nothing she could say would ever undo the damage. "I'm sorry, okay?" she sobbed. "I messed up. I know I did. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Please don't leave me." I stood there, arms crossed, shaking my head. "It's too late, Lisa. I can't pretend anymore. You invited your ex to our wedding and lied to me. You've disrespected me and my mom in ways I can't ignore." She fell to her knees in front of me, and for a moment I felt a flicker of guilt, but it quickly passed. I knew deep down that I was doing the right thing. "I don't love you anymore," I said softly, but with finality. Not like this. Lisa's apology was like a whisper on the wind, fleeting, insincere, and lost in the chaos. I couldn't hear it. I couldn't feel it. I had been hurt too many times, too deeply, to believe her anymore. "I've had enough of the lies, Lisa," I said, my voice steady. "I can't do this with you anymore. You've broken my trust in ways I can't even explain. I don't care how sorry you are now. It's too late." She begged me to reconsider, but it didn't matter. I couldn't go back. I had seen the truth, and I couldn't unsee it. I didn't just walk away from the wedding. I made a decision that hurt, but I knew it was the right one. I told Lisa that if she wanted to reconnect with her ex, she had my blessing. If that's where her heart was, then she could go. I didn't want her anymore, and for the first time in years, I felt like I had control over my own life. It was painful, heartbreaking, but it was also liberating. I wasn't going to stay in a toxic relationship. I wasn't going to let someone manipulate me anymore. I let Lisa reconnect with her ex, and in doing so, I finally let go of the last shred of hope I had left in our relationship. A few weeks passed, and Lisa came back to me. She asked for another chance, but I had already made my peace. I had learned to let go. "I'm done, Lisa," I said, looking her in the eye. "I've learned that I deserve more than this. I deserve someone who values me, who values my family, and who doesn't lie to me." There was no turning back now. I had finally found my strength. Months passed. I'd healed. I'd moved on. My relationship with my mom had never been stronger, and I was finally free from the toxicity that had clouded my life. I wasn't perfect, but I was happy, and I had learned a valuable lesson. Never again would I let someone tear me apart. I'd chosen me,